Hey guys, Ray Runner Does Music here, and welcome to the first episode of hopefully a new ongoing series called Singles Club. So what Singles Club is going to be, basically every so often, really there's no real super specific timetable on this, I'm going to sit down and talk to you guys about singles from bands that have come out in the past week or so. We're just going to dive into these tracks, talk about whether I like them or not, indicate if I think it's a good direction for upcoming music happening. Just typical just discussion for the music and what it could mean for the future of the band. Up this week, we got a lot of stuff. We got a couple covers and, well, a lot else. Just stick around. Let's see what we got this week, all right? Before the video starts, though, I'm not going to hit you with that like, subscribe stuff. I'm just going to tell you instead, stay hydrated. Get some water inside you because, starting to get hot, starting to get summer. A lot of people, myself included, we don't drink water as much as we have to. So, stay hydrated. Shit's bussin'. First up, we have a cover of Every Time We Touch by the Bunny the Bear from Ghost Killer Entertainment's Pop Goes Hardcore. If you don't know who Bunny the Bear is, otherwise known as Matthew Tybor and his 57 Bears, the Bunny the Bear is a band whose music ranges from post-hardcore to metalcore to technocore. It's sort of a mindless self-indulgence situation where you can attach any genre to them, and it makes sense. You might know them for their songs Isle, April 11th, maybe more recently songs like Love Lies off of their album The Way We Rust. They've been around for a long time. I want to say about 15 years, maybe less, maybe more. But like I said, this week we're looking at their single. It's a cover of Every Time We Touch by Cascada. Everybody's, especially if you're an emo bastard like me, you've heard the song Every Time We Touch. It's one of those songs that, back when you were an early teen or maybe late teens, whenever you started really getting into the scene, you probably had your typical bands you listen to. You'd have your Sleeping with Sirens, you'd have your Motionless in White, but you had some songs and some bands that would kind of, it wouldn't make sense overall with everything, but it was a song that nonetheless you're like, hey, this shit fucking slaps. I don't know why, but Every Time We Touch was a song that every fucking emo kid knew the song, they knew the words to it, they knew the tune, they were, as soon as that comes on, it had the same energy as King for a Day. There was no excuses needed. Instant bop. It's honestly a great choice of a band to cover the song as well, because the Bunny the Bear, as I noted quickly with their genre choices in the past, they already had some experience with electronic music, and so the more post-hardcore edge to them really clashed in a very, maybe not clash is the right word, they really melded well here with the electronic influence that the song already had and their own electronic influence that they applied to the song. I've only listened to a couple songs from the compilation from Ghost Killer Entertainment. Great brand, by the way. Check them out if you don't already. Memes, music, bands, whole lot of great stuff. But this is very much so the standout thus far from what I've listened to, and I imagine overall the Bunny the Bear is kind of the veteran band. They're kind of they're there to Ghost Killer Entertainment in the situation what Of Mice and Men and We Came as Romans are to Sharp Tone. I think We Came as Romans is on Sharp Tone. I could be wrong. I want to say they are. All in all, the cover is pretty standard. It's not the best thing in the world. It is something that I could very well see happening on Fearless Records' Pop Goes Punk albums. And honestly, now that I think about it, I don't think a band has covered Every Time We Touch from Pop Goes Punk. Why not? Or Punk Goes Pop. That's like the perfect song to throw in there. Like I said earlier, every emo kid knows. How's the band not done this before? The Bunny the Bear did the right thing here by covering this song. I think you should absolutely check it out. And check out the rest of the songs and covers that are on that Ghost Killer Entertainment compilation. Next up, we got Ice Nine Kills coming at us with part cover, part parody, Jason's Mom, otherwise known as, again, an adaptation of the song Stacy's Mom by Fountains of Wayne. The song itself isn't exactly a new track, although it did just get added to streaming services today, so I'm going to count it as new enough. So Ice Nine Kills did a sort of acoustic/studio performance a while back where they did this song along with some others, I believe, or it might have just been this session, this song from the session that they released. And it was immediately met with some pretty good fan response. I'll admit, when I first listened to it, I was like, okay, it's cool. I don't know if I like it a whole bunch, but listening to it now, I have way bigger appreciation for it. So ever since their 2015 album, I believe, Every Trick in the Book, Ice Nine Kills has been slowly and eventually fully turning into what is essentially a horrorcore band. They're taking their music and taking influences from books and movies and media within the horror genre and scary genre, stuff like that, and just making musical projects from that. A lot of people criticize the band for it, but I, for one, think it's a unique thing to do, because some bands, they'll do a couple songs, or they'll do maybe one album that has a concept that sort of leans towards theatrical releases. Or maybe it's similar to a book or similar to the work of an author or a director. But Ice Nine Kills really took the idea of, maybe not the idea originally, but they took this idea of making music from horror movies and works of literature that deal with aspects of horror and just maybe thriller things, and made some fantastic music from it. Every trick in the book was fantastic. The Silver Scream was good, maybe a little overrated, but still a fantastic album. And this is another example of the good stuff that they can do with taking influence from literature and media. It doesn't really matter. Ice Nine Kills is a band that anything they touch really turns to gold. They're on top of the metalcore. What? Huh? They're on top of the metalcore Mount Rushmore right now with bands like Motionless In White, and suddenly forgot every metalcore band in the scene. But regardless, they're at the top of their game right now. They can only go up from here, and little, side things like this. This is really good to keep interest in the band, show that the band is continually making content. There's been a lot of rumors. There's been some interviews. There's been some interactions and meet and greets with fans about where Ice Nine Kills is going to go next. Honestly, I would love to see them do a little more horror stuff, like horror movies. There's a lot of different things that you could do with movies they've already explored and ideas they've already explored. Like, you don't have to make like a whole another 12, 15 out movies. You can revisit some ideas. Like Saw, there's a couple more things you can do with Saw. And on the other end of that, you can do some more stuff with Final Destination. Or similar movies that have kind of fallen to the horror thriller aspect that they haven't touched yet. But going back on this song specifically, Jason's Mom is a wonderful adaptation of the original material. I think it does a lot of justice to the band and to the original song as well, because a lot of bands, when they cover a song, they just simply do it in their style. Like a pop punk band will cover a pop song and they'll just add in some, stuff, and that'll be the most of it. Bands like Ice Nine Kills are a great example of what I think band more should be doing with covers, and that's not only adding their own flavor to it, but adding some new additions to it. All in all, another fantastic single from another fantastic band. That's 2 covers in a row. Let's get on to some original, fully owned music with the next band. Next up, we're going from hard music to something maybe a little more subdued, but don't get that confused for bad or worse than the hard stuff. We have Addison Grace with Manic Pixie Dream Girl. So I know a lot of people like to talk shit about TikTok. They like to say, oh, it's the new cancer of the internet. Oh, God. But I, for one, think that TikTok has, a lot of good, positive things about it. One of those things being that I've discovered a hell of a lot new artists on the app. People like Ace Case, and Addison Grace that we're talking about right now. A whole fuck ton of pop punk bands. You thought pop punk bands following you on Twitter and messaging you on Instagram was bad? Get ready for TikTok! Not for real though, Addison Grace is by far one of my favorite discoveries when it comes to things I've found on TikTok musically, and I think that she is painting a really good idea and a really good presentation here of what it's like to change yourself for somebody else, and or realize, hey, maybe I shouldn't fucking do that. As with her other 4 songs, stuff like Honeysuckle and Party Killer, it's a really pretty track that is like twinkly and sets a certain vibe that honestly fits into the title of the song, which in itself is kind of something that goes against it. It's confusing in the best way. But the song tackles the idea of, again, changing yourself, looking at it like self-love, telling the world, and in this case, so your partner, hey, I'm not going to be the thing you want me to be. I'm going to be me. I'm going to be myself. And I think that's a really positive sort of outlook and thing that we should see a lot more in music nowadays. People like to shit on pop punk and metalcore for being like, oh, it's just positive garbage sometimes. Sometimes it's just, oh, we're rising above it. We're doing this for ourselves, it's all this and that. I think we need more of that in music. We can never have enough positivity and self-love in music. And stuff like the music that's coming from Addison Grace is really exemplary of the kind of thing we need. And I, for one, think is fucking fantastic to have. So let's move on from Addison Grace into I forgot the next artist. Fuck. For the first episode of Season Singles Club, we're really getting every point, every bulletin mark here. We have covers, we have original music, and now we have a redone version of a song that's previously existed with Motionless in White and their synthwave version of their song Voices. This one's going to be super quick because it's just a redone version of a song that's previously been out. I'm pretty sure if you know Motionless in White or you know this music scene, especially metalcore in general, you know the song Voices. It's probably one of their most, if not the most popular song they put out in the past, 10 years or so. I feel like Reincarnate and this song are kind of like top 5 for Spotify, for possible radio play, stuff like that. It's a song that a lot of people know, and to see the band put a new spin on it with part of their quarantine sessions here, I'm all for it. And it's a fantastic example of how you can take your own work and go somewhere else with it, go somewhere different with it, do something new with it. The first thing I noticed about this is the vocals here, I believe, have been completely done from scratch. Like, it's a new vocal track. It's not just the old vocals that they took and then put over this new instrumental. As far as I can tell, every part of the song, or at the very least the first verse, because the first verse sounds the most different and the most changed here. It seems like all the vocals have been redone to sort of fit this vibe more, fit the tone of the song a little more with the new, again, synthwave direction. I, for one, think that this is the best alternate version of a song that the band has done to date. You have great examples like some of the remixes. I believe Black Damask got a remix that was pretty good. And there was also, of course, the acoustic version of Cinematic, which is the superior version, straight up. No fucking competition. It's better. And again, I love when bands go back to their previous work, even stuff that's not off their current album or their current cycle, because right now, technically, we're still hot off the heels of Disguise. They could have done something from Disguise, like they could have done another version of Eternally Yours, how they did, I believe it was an orchestral version of Eternally Yours. They could have done that synthwave, but they went back a whole nother album and did a new version of that. That's fantastic. I wish more bands would go out of their way to do stuff like that when it's more than just a situation of like a 10-year anniversary. Because, like, you know, you get the 10-year anniversary, you get the 5-year, or even the 1 year, and they'll be like, oh yeah, let's release an alternate version, an acoustic version. This is Motionless in White going the extra mile to provide some new content and a new take on a now classic song of theirs, and I thank them for that. So if you've been listening to music that's within the pop punk scene or the alternative rock scene, you know about the band Bowling for Soup. They have hit songs like 1985, High School Never Ends, My Weena, you know, the song about the penis. Bowling for Soup is overall a band that it's just a for fun band. They're all about having a good time. They don't try to be too serious. It's the best kind of thing that pop punk band can be. And they've become really self-aware, and honestly, the best kind of way. All the bands this week are doing things the best kind of way, and I'm all for it. Bowling for Soup knows they're getting old, and this new track, Getting Old Sucks, but everybody's doing it, is a great example of that. Again, being self-aware, knowing that, you know, they're not as young as they used to be, but that's fine. You know, you don't have to be super young, you don't have to be, like, immediately with everything. You can still be the same fun-loving band, the same band that's saying, fuck it, we're gonna make music that we enjoy, and still come off with a pretty good product. The song does not take a second to breathe, and even when the bridge hits, it's literally just Jared just talking like, man, we can't fucking do this anymore. Shit. But again, they're just having a good time, and I think this is the best thing that bands can do when they get to this age. I recently listened to the new Offspring album, a band that's been around for, I think, maybe a year or two longer, or not quite a year or two, the same as Bowling for Soup. They're from the same era, and over time, especially with this new album, they kind of turn into the band where it's like, oh, yeah, oh, you're still going up, okay, we're still here. And the new album from them is still kind of like, yeah, it's music, it's not great, it's not bad, it's there. Whereas Bowling for Soup, I mean, the past, like, year, 2 years, they've been putting out music that is consistently good. You have the single Alexa Bliss, you have this new song, I think they put out a Christmas song, maybe I'm off by a couple years there. Overall, there's nothing really to say here. It's Bowling for Soup making alternative rock pop punk music, and they still got some energy in them. They still have the ability to make a good, coherent song. You know, it doesn't need anything too crazy. They don't need to bring in a new member and be like, hey, I need you to do some fucking bullshit. You know, they can just keep doing the same thing they've done for years, and they're a band that don't seem stale. It's the same thing over and over again with them, but it's the same welcome thing. And that was Singles Club. Thank you so much for watching. I do want to make a quick note that I should have made at the beginning of the video, but here I am at the end of the video making the note. I've been having some trouble, like, forming thoughts in, like, a video essay kind of way. You might have been able to see that kind of in my review for Escape the Fate's new album. And I can write the ideas down on paper, and I can read from a script, but communicating that idea and getting that idea out in video form kind of falls flat sometimes. And if you feel like I fell flat with any of the opinions I put in this video, please comment down below, ask me to elaborate on something, conversate with me about one of the songs I talked about today or some of the points I made. I'll happily discuss that more with you guys down there. But again, thank you so much for watching Singles Club Episode 1. I would love to do this every week, but it's hard enough to keep me up with my main channel. If you haven't noticed by that upload schedule, let's put that up on the screen and laugh at it. What the fuck is that? And once again, thank you so much for stopping by. It means a lot. I really want to do that. I had a water bottle, but I lost it. I really want to do this a little more often. You know, being able to do different things like this with Singles Club is, you know, I feel it's good for the content. It keeps it fresh. It keeps it new. It gives me a new challenge to do. Overall, again, just for the 5th time, thank you so much. Remember, stay hydrated. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for stopping by.
This water's 3 days old. Oh, fuck.